And good morning, this is Pauline with the Talking News.
And this is Mike. Good morning to you. Sight for Wight news for Friday the 15th of November 2019. Tuesday the 19th of November, Laura will be at Our Place Community Drop-In session at the West Wight Community Centre in Mower Place, Freshwater. Come along to say hello between 10:15 a.m. and 12 noon and enjoy a free cup of tea or coffee. The swimming group are swimming at the waterside pool in Ryde from 8 p.m. until 8:45 p.m. The pool is closed to the public whilst the group swims. There are male and female volunteers to help you get in and out of the pool, as well as lifeguards to ensure your safety. To join the swimming group, please call Sight for Wight to notify us of your swimming ability. You need to register with the office at Millbrook House first to be able to swim with the group.
On Wednesday the 20th of November, the weekly coffee morning will be held at Millbrook House this week from 10 until 11:30. There will also be our low vision drop-in between 10 and 12. This is a weekly event to allow you to view and try the low vision equipment we have at Sight for Wight without the need for an appointment. We will be swimming at the special care session held at West Wight Sports Centre in Freshwater. The session runs from 12 until 1 p.m. The cost to swim is £4.20. Minibus transport may be available depending on location, and it costs £2. If you are interested in joining the group, then we will need to ask some questions about your swimming ability, general health and mobility, and next of kin details. Numbers are restricted for this session, so please register your interest early.
Thursday the 21st of November. The Thursday social group are meeting at Millbrook House. The group meets from 10:30 a.m. until 2 p.m. With the help of volunteers, the group enjoy a number of activities: crosswords, catching up on news and trivia, knitting and crochet. They are currently making decorations for the Sight for Wight Christmas tree and continuing to make pom-poms for the rug. This very friendly mixed group also love to chat and enjoy lunch together. Later in the afternoon, volunteers come in and read to the group on different topics. If you would like to join the group, then please contact the charity on 522205.
Any other news? Advance notice for Striders. There has been a change to the planned stride at the end of November. The new route will be from Stag Lane to Gurnard. Full details have been distributed to members of the Striders group.
Sight for Wight will be at the Shorewell Coffee Morning on November the 30th at Shorewell Village Hall between 10 a.m. and 12 noon. Our stall will have homemade cakes, jigsaws, books and bric-a-brac. Everyone is very welcome. Please tell friends and family about this fundraising event. If anyone would like to donate a raffle prize or gifts for our Christmas stall, please drop them into Millbrook House. It will be very much appreciated.
Freshwater Library Listening Reading Group. This group usually meets on the second Tuesday of each month, but in December we will meet on the first Tuesday, December the 3rd, from 11 to 12.
Equipment. We have been approached by members who would like to find new homes for the following pre-loved items: large older computer, large monitor with built-in speakers, TAVR plus keyboard, Windows XP, also Supernova, which will need updating, Adler Tipper portable typewriter with braille scale, good ribbon, ordinary key Stensbury, interlined for writing braille. These items are available free of charge. If you are interested, please contact the charity on 522205 or email members@iwsb.org.uk.
2020 Diaries and Calendars. It's time to order your VIP diaries and calendars. Please note that the suppliers of VIP diaries have now imposed a minimum number for orders that we place on your behalf. Therefore, we will place orders on the following dates: the 25th of November and a final order on Wednesday, December the 3rd. Any orders after this date will need to be made directly by members to the diary company. Prices are as follows: the pocket diary A6 with cover, week to view, £5.75. The pocket diary A6, insert only, week to view, £5.30. The midi diary A5, week to view, £7.65. The jumbo diary A4, week to view, 2 days per page, £21. The desk diary A4, week to view, £9.45. The wall hanging calendar A3, £6.25. The wall hanging dates reminder, £5.75. To place your order, please contact Laura Jasper. You can ring 533305 or email members@iwsb.org.uk.
A possible new audiobook group. Alistair has run the Freshwater Library Audiobook Group for many years and is now looking to start a new one at Sandown Library. If you would be interested in joining the group, please contact Sandown Library on 502748 with your name and contact details, and they will pass on your details to Alistair. Days and times to be arranged once we have an idea of interest. Please note that this group is not run by Sight for Wight. We are just advertising on Alistair's behalf.
Christmas tree decorations. If any member would like to make a Christmas tree decoration for our tree to be displayed at Bryston Christmas Tree Festival in December, preferably in blue and gold colours, but not essential, then please either drop them off at Millbrook House or send in by the end of November.
The members' Christmas lunch will be held on Thursday the 19th of December at the White Lion, Arraton. A 2-course meal will cost £19.95. Places must be booked and paid for in advance. To register your interest and request a menu, please contact Laura on 532205 or email members@iwsb.org.uk. Minibus transport may be available depending on location.
There will be a trip to Medina Theatre on Saturday the 21st of December to enjoy the pantomime Dick Whittington. Meet at 1:30 for a 2 o'clock performance. The show lasts approximately 2.5 hours. Spaces are limited for this trip, so if you would like to book your place, please contact Laura Jasper on 532205 or email members@iwsb.org.uk. Closing date for applications is Wednesday the 20th of November. Please note the ticket price of £15 must be paid in advance. Minibus transport may be available for a donation of £2 depending on location.
We will be visiting the Isle of Wight Pearl on this visit, where we will join the Pearl Masterclass, a free informative talk about pearls. The talk lasts about 30 minutes and there will also be an opportunity to look around the centre or have refreshments in the cafe. There is no charge for the talk, but minibus may be available depending on location for a donation of £2. Closing date for applications is Monday the 20th of January. For further information or to book your place, please contact the charity on 532205 or email members@iwsb.org.uk. Please note that all activities are subject to demand and availability of volunteers for driving and supporting as a sighted escort guides.
There was an error in the November newsletter. The Night and Coffee Morning is still running on the first Tuesday morning of each month at the post office in Knighton. For more information, please call Laura on 500005.
This week's In Touch. Blindness consultant Joe Stretchy tells Peter Wight how you teach sighted actors to portray blindness. Advent for Change, a not-for-profit enterprise, has developed a Braille Advent calendar. They explain why it doesn't contain chocolate. And the new Apple Plus sci-fi series, See, is about a world in which everyone is blind.
And here is the news from the County Press, Friday the 15th of November. And one of the headlines says, Mum and Daughter Preyed on the Elderly, by Laurie Little. A mother and daughter have been jailed for a series of thefts from vulnerable victims. As reported in the County Press last month, Dion Clark, 54, and her daughter Cheryl Clark, 26, of Lowtherville Road, Ventnor, pleaded guilty to 13 offences. They appeared at the Isle of Wight Crown Court for sentencing last Friday. The court heard the pair stole items including £600 in cash, a mobile phone, a bus pass, handbag and a 91-year-old woman's will in their spree in August and September last year. A judge jailed Diane for 2 years and Cheryl for 21 months. It was heard the pair were at Halifax Bank, Newport, when they spotted a 91-year-old woman withdrawing cash. After following her, Dion stole £600 and the woman's will from her handbag. On September the 15th, they stole an elderly woman's handbag from a trolley while she was shopping. They used her bank card to purchase items for themselves. They admitted a burglary at the Salvation Army's Fellowship House, Ryde, on August the 8th, in which they stole a mobile phone and bus pass, and the theft of a mobile phone from a council volunteer on August the 12th. On September the 5th, they stole a wallet from a car, fraudulently using a bank card from the wallet. They also shoplifted coffee and cheese from Sainsbury's on September the 13th. Both admitted counts of theft, one of burglary and one of shoplifting. Dion also admitted one charge of possessing a Class C drug. Investigating officer PC Matthew Rumsey said, Dion and Cheryl Clark preyed upon vulnerable and elderly victims. They have shown no remorse for the distress they caused the victims of their criminal acts throughout our investigation. Their offending started as soon as they came to the Isle of Wight, and at no stage have they apologised for the harm they have caused, or told us where items such as the will and money are. Those who target the elderly and vulnerable will always be pursued by the police and brought to account.
A life sentence given to remorseless murderer. Murderer Jonathan Stasi Oak has been jailed for life for killing former councillor Jerry Wight. Stasi Oak, aged 60, changed his plea to admit to murder partway through the trial at Southampton Crown Court earlier this week. Yesterday, that's Thursday, he was jailed for 25 years, of which he has already served 6 months. Stasi Oak of Pier Road, Sandown, killed 73-year-old Mr. Wight at Lake Community Gardens on May the 27th, using a chainsaw to slice at his legs before strangling him. Mr. Wight's wife, Lee, released a statement on behalf of the family. It said, Jerry's family is relieved the accused admitted being guilty of murder. Heartfelt thanks are due to the police, prosecution, court staff and all those involved for the hard work they put into the investigation and trial, contributing to this satisfactory outcome. The tragic loss of Jerry has left a huge hole in the lives of family and friends. We cannot hope to ever get over it. While nothing will bring my husband back, we have justice for him, and for this we are very grateful. Senior Investigating Officer D.I. Toby Alcock said Stasi Oak showed no remorse. He described the murder as a brutal attack on a much-loved and respected member of the community. Stasi Oak and Mr. Wight had become embroiled in a festering dispute over money. The once friendly relationship between them turned sour as the pair waged war over amounts as low as £25. They were trustees of the communal garden, but Stasi Oak harboured a growing sense of grievance which led to an entrenched hatred for Mr. Wight, who was the landlord of Lake's Stag Inn.
Dementia patients sent to the mainland. 5 elderly dementia patients have been sent to the mainland. This has cost the Isle of Wight NHS Trust £330,000. This follows the closure of the island's dementia ward. Shackleton Ward at St Mary's Hospital was closed just weeks after a £200,000 refurbishment. It was closed due to staff shortages. It had previously been rated inadequate by the Care Quality Commission. It was reopened, then closed again in September, after the Trust announced plans to care for patients in the community instead. However, the Trust has been unable to provide suitable care for 5 people who have been sent to the mainland. Patients were sent to the mainland temporarily during the previous closures, and this cost the Trust £145,000. The Trust said it hoped to bring patients back to the island as soon as possible. Dr. Leslie Stevens, Director of Mental Health and Learning Disabilities, said, "We are working with the Isle of Wight Clinical Commissioning Group to create a new service for older people with dementia and mental health needs that will support them in the community, including in their own home and in residential or nursing homes. The community-based service will be better for those people needing support and their families and the wider community." Further concerns have been raised about a lack of beds for people with acute mental health needs. Last year, a study carried out by the Royal College of Psychiatrists found the Trust was one of 7 nationally struggling to cope with the demand for inpatient beds, resulting in out-of-area placements. RCP President Professor Wendy Burns said, "Cuts in the number of mental health beds have gone too far and patients and their families are suffering as a result. Trusts struggling with dangerously high levels of bed occupancy are being forced to send seriously ill people hundreds of miles away from their homes for care. That must stop. Beds are being closed and services moved to the community so people can be treated close to friends and family and without having to leave their homes. The reality in many areas is that beds have been lost and investment in community services is only now starting."
Drug dealer jailed. A drug dealer who boasted about making thousands of pounds by selling cocaine on the Isle of Wight has been jailed for 8 years. Matthew Reed of West Hill Road, Ryde, was arrested by officers on October the 6th, 2017, after he crashed his Mini Cooper into a parked car in Collingwood Road in Shanklin. The 29-year-old had earlier been spotted driving at speed through Lake, but failed to stop for officers who tried to pull him over. Reed was arrested a short while later, along with his passenger, 32-year-old Patrick Rice of Pier Street, Ventnor. The Isle of Wight Crown Court heard that when officers arrested the pair, a Stanley knife fell from Rice's shorts, and a second larger knife was found inside Reed's car. Investigating Officer D.C. Ian Robertson said, "Arresting officers located a quantity of pills in Reed's possession. During the subsequent police investigation, we found evidence on Reed's phone that he had been heavily involved in the supply of cocaine on the island since November 2016. The quantities mentioned ranged from a kilo to multiple ounces, along with messages boasting that every few days he was profiting somewhere in the region of £1,400 to £2,500 and had £40,000 available to him to buy more drugs. Following a 4-day trial, Reed was convicted last Thursday of dangerous driving, possession of a bladed article, possession with intent to supply a Class C drug, and being concerned in the supply of cocaine. He was jailed for 8 years and was banned from driving for 7 years. Rice was convicted of possessions of an offensive weapon and was handed a 7-month sentence, suspended for 18 months. He was also ordered to complete 180 hours of unpaid work. DC Robertson said, "We do not tolerate the supply of illegal drugs, and I hope Reed's sentence reassures the public that we will do our utmost to dismantle drug networks affecting our island communities."
Island tomatoes fit for a prince. Prince Charles learnt about the benefits of island sunshine when he dropped by the tomato stall stand at the 20th anniversary of the London Farmers Market. The Duke and Duchess of Cornwall visited the Swiss Cottage Farmers Market last Wednesday. This is where they met Paul Thomas, managing director of the tomato stall, which grows its tomatoes in the Arraton Valley. Paul has been a key trader at more than 15 farmers' markets across the city for the past 12 years. When introduced, Prince Charles showed a keen interest in the sustainability measures the Arraton nursery has in place. These include harvesting rainwater to irrigate the crop and utilising all natural waste, with an on-site composting facility. Paul explained that boasting more light than anywhere else in the UK, being based on the island was the key ingredient to growing the sweetest and most flavoursome tomato varieties. Founded in 2007, the tomato stall has put Isle of Wight tomatoes on the map by continuing to innovate and showcase the best speciality tomatoes that deliver on flavour. The business has built a loyal following with foodies and renowned chefs and supplies customers such as the Gordon Ramsay Group, Whole Foods and Ocado, while still attending up to 28 farmers' markets a week.
30 deaths a year due to cold homes. From fuel poverty and excess winter deaths to social and digital isolation, health and social care providers are struggling to deliver services for elderly islanders. Around 30 deaths a year have been attributed to fuel poverty. The Isle of Wight Council's annual public health report, focusing on health and well-being of over 65s, reveals services are struggling to meet the needs of an increasingly elderly population. The report has not recommended any services change. Instead, it has made self-care suggestions, encouraging people to enter old age as healthily as possible. They include exercising and getting vaccinated against the flu and shingles. According to the report, only 1 in 4 people aged over 65 meet minimum recommended activity levels. With 11% of households in fuel poverty, 5.1% of island homes have no central heating. An estimated 30% of excess winter deaths have been attributed to cold housing, which equates to around 30 deaths each year. Although 97% of islanders over 65 receive winter fuel payments, the report stated lowering the temperature in a living room by just 1 degree could increase the risk of strokes and heart attacks. It found people wanted to stay in their own homes for longer, making it more difficult for the council to provide social and community care. The island plan has identified the need for greater fuel efficiency in new builds. The report has also urged those who feel socially and digitally isolated to take action, either by volunteering, like half the island's population aged between 55 and 75, or by taking part in technology workshops. Approximately 1 in 5 people live in the so-called offline nation. Interim Public Health Director Simon Bryant said, "This report will look at ways in which we can further prevent disease and keep people as healthy as possible for as long as possible."
Ireland represented at Lord Mayor's show. Medina marching band members represented the Isle of Wight at the Lord Mayor's show in London on Saturday. Kevin Downer, band vice chairman, thanked everyone who had helped fund the trip and said, "We had a fantastic time. It was an honour to take part and represent the island in such a prestigious event. We made it onto the BBC One live broadcast where the Isle of Wight got a mention. It was an experience we will all never forget."
An emotional day for Cassie's mother. A mother whose little girl was tragically murdered has purchased a puppy for Ability Dogs for Young People. Nikki Flux Edmonds lost daughter Kezia in 2016 when the 6-year-old was killed by her father, who also took the life of the family dogs then himself too. Nikki had an emotional first meeting with the puppy on Wednesday and was delighted to name her Cassie. She said, "I will only see the puppy occasionally after today as it's too emotional. I absolutely loved today. Cassie is a beautiful, fun and friendly puppy, so has some of my Cassie's personality traits. I feel so proud of her. It feels so good knowing someone calls my daughter's name every day. I can't wait to see who she becomes and who gets to love her." Nikki bought the dog to commemorate what would have been Kezia's 10th birthday. She said, "I chose this charity because my Kezia loved dogs passionately, and Ireland young people are very important. I thought it would be wonderful for her name to live on, doing something special for another young person. I love the thought that someone will love and appreciate Cassie as much as I did, my Kezia." Cassie is the charity's 5th new puppy for 2019. She is a yellow Labrador and is just 13 weeks old. Carol Court, charity founder, said, "Nikki gave the generous donation of £1,203 on Kezia's birthday to mark the number of days since Kezia was tragically killed." Cassie signs the other Ability dog puppies in training, including Trevor, Bonnie, Dilly and Pippa. Cassie is with Joan, the charity's first puppy parent, so she is in good hands and making very good progress with her initial training. Ability Dogs for Young People is an island charity which trains assistance dogs to improve the lives of physically and mentally disabled young people and children. Find out more at abilitydogsforyoungpeople.org.uk. Email info@abilitydogs4yp.org.uk or telephone 216 246.
Renovation plan for Sandown Loos. Plans to renovate the toilet block at Sandown seafront opposite the pier have been announced by the Isle of Wight Council. The authorities said the new look facility could include a new food and drink outlet, separate public toilets and redesigned outdoor areas. Although the toilets were temporarily reopened this summer, the council said the age of the building meant new ideas were needed to ensure the facility was sustainable in the long term. The council's Assistant Director of Regeneration, Paul Thomas, said, "We know this is a particularly well-used and important part of the seaside offering at Sandown. We are keen to make this location much more attractive to locals and tourists alike.
Dog walker mistook Iron Age skull for old football. A dog walker who kicked what he thought was an old football at Binsted Beach was shocked to discover it was actually a human skull. It was later found to be up to 2,800 years old, dating back to the Iron Age. It was found in June last year by Binsted resident Anthony Plowright, who had taken his 2 dogs for an evening walk along the beach. It comprises the upper part of a human skull, called the cranium. The find was reported to the police and then referred to Isle of Wight coroner Caroline Summeray. She sent the skull for carbon dating, and researchers discovered it dated back to between 800 BC and 540 BC. Researchers discovered it dated back to between 800 BC and 540 BC. Mr. Plowright said, "I was just walking along the beach and I saw this thing. I thought it was an old football, so I booted it. Then I realised what it was, so I put it in a bag and took it home and emailed the police to tell them I had found it. I had absolutely no idea it was that old." The skull has been donated to the Isle of Wight Heritage Service to be exhibited in a museum.
Labour intends to turn Wight red. Candidate Richard Quigley said he was proud to represent Labour at the party's election campaign launch. Supporters attended the event at Newport's Riverside Centre on Monday, where Mr Quigley spoke about his experience in island business. He runs Corrie's Cabin Fish and Chip Shop in Cowes and community groups. He pledged to run a clean campaign and said aggression and hostility had become too common in political discourse. Mr Quigley said the campaign would be about much more than Brexit. He said Labour would restore public services after a decade of Tory cuts, citing St Mary's Hospital, island schools and council services for the elderly and vulnerable as key battlegrounds. He said the 2017 general election result demonstrated only Labour can seriously challenge the Tories on the island, as we finished thousands of votes clear of the minor parties. Tonight showed the enthusiasm and commitment of my fellow islanders to bring about real change. Together, we intend to turn the Wight red. Mr Quigley also criticised the backroom deal that saw the Lib Dems stand aside for the Green Party. He said, "It's the job of parties to set out their policies and seek to win majority support. That's what I'll be doing, and I believe I can convince islanders to back me."
Homeless shelter opens at old school. The new homeless night shelter has opened at the former Barton Primary School at Newport, providing people with somewhere to eat, sleep, wash and access support. Opened by the Isle of Wight Council with government support, around £100,000 has been spent on transforming the building and providing services at the shelter, which can accommodate 25 rough sleepers. Jamie Brenchley, Service Manager for Homelessness and Housing Needs at the Council, said the shelter would take people off the streets, giving them a safe, secure place to stay and helping them rebuild their lives. He said, "We know the interventions we offer people don't work for everyone, so we need to create additional options and opportunities to help people take those stepping stones to a place where we get them linked to appropriate support services. We can help them develop those networks and the resilience to overcome the traumatic experience and tragedy that homelessness is. The number of rough sleepers on the island has dropped from 24 to 11 compared with last year, and Jamie said he was confident that the number would now reduce further. One potential service user, Tim, was only recently been made homeless but has lived on the streets before and said he was looking forward to making progress with the help offered at the shelter. He said, "This is absolutely fantastic, very warm, clean and nice. It is a step in the right direction if you are homeless, and it is good to be one of the people they have started to help. I do not know what my options would be if this wasn't here. I don't like sofa surfing because you're putting yourself on people." The shelter will be run by the Salvation Army. The charity's homelessness services manager, Rachel Lee, said, "This shelter will have a comprehensive package of specialist services. It is not just a bed for a night. It is about getting in and referring people to the services they need. For us, it's great to have our own dedicated space, and we want people to feel at home for the time they are with us. The emergency shelter will be open through the winter until March 2020, with support services available from 6:30 p.m. to 11 a.m.
Former UKIP man to stand. Former UKIP parliamentary candidate Gerald Pitcher said yesterday, Thursday, he will stand to become the Isle of Wight Member of Parliament. Despite announcing last week he would not be running, Mr Pitcher has now confirmed he will stand as an independent candidate, focusing primarily on Brexit. Mr Pitcher, who left UKIP a couple of months ago, said he had planned to support the Isle of Wight's Brexit Party candidate Peter Wiltshire. However, Mr Wiltshire will now not stand after the Brexit Party pooled its candidates in constituencies won by the Conservatives in 2017. Also running as independent candidates are Carl Feeney and Carl Love.
Patients rate St Mary's. A&E waiting times remain a problem, with patients giving St Mary's Hospital a score of 6.2 out of 10. A national survey carried out by the Care Quality Commission, that's the CQC, has been completed by 466 Isle of Wight residents who received emergency care between October 2018 and March 2019. They rated urgent and emergency care services, including the A&E department, as 7.9 out of 10, in line with the national average. Earlier this year, the CQC warned emergency services must improve as a matter of urgency after inspectors found patients were not always treated in a timely or safe manner, and there were not enough staff. The Isle of Wight NHS Trust fell below the national average in two areas: a lack of privacy during treatment, that was 8.6 out of 10, and a lack of information about obtaining test results, that was 4.1 out of 10. In terms of waiting times, the Trust scored 6.2 out of 10 overall. Patients also gave scores for the information provided about waiting times, it was 3.8, and help for staff was 7.4. Patients said they felt safe, that's 9.8, and were treated with dignity and respect, that was 9. Nationally, 41% of respondents said they waited at A&E for more than 4 hours. Professor Ted Baker, the CQC's Chief Inspector of Hospitals, said, "I'm pleased to see the majority of people surveyed continue to report positively about their experience. This is despite the pressures urgent and emergency care services are under, and a testament to the dedication and hard work of hospital staff across the country. However, it is disappointing that in some areas people's experience continues to fall short. We cannot ignore the increasing impact of lengthy waiting times, particularly for those patients attending A&E departments. I would like trusts to reflect on their survey results to understand what their patients really think and help identify what individual changes they can make to drive improvements, particularly where more effective integration with other services may be of benefit.
Prolink Chair joins the race. Fixed Link campaigner Carl Feeney has confirmed he will stand in the general election. He said last week he was considering standing and suggested everyone should have an annual health MOT or face losing access to the NHS services. Mr Feeney has now confirmed he will stand as an independent network candidate, otherwise known as IN. The IN is a national organisation. Mr Feeney said he had visited its Westminster office to discuss political support and endorsement and had agreed to work together. Mr Feeney has called for a no-deal Brexit and an Ireland manifesto, as well as a fixed link. He said, "My Brexit stance is out. The damage the Conservatives have inflicted on our relationship with the EU is irretrievable. The Brexit chaos has discredited and embarrassed us worldwide. To now stay would be folly. We'd never be taken seriously anywhere. Sadly, a no-deal Brexit is the only option, the quickest and eventually most productive. They will be clamouring to do deals with us after we leave." Added to that, of course, we did democratically vote to leave. Best known as a fixed link campaigner, property landlord and businessman Mr Feeney has called for the building of a Solent Freedom Tunnel. He said, "Many on the island may recognise my name because of the fixed link campaign I've spearheaded for the last 5 years. This campaign also includes implementing further infrastructure, such as the Medina vehicular crossing and an immersed pedestrian/cycleway tunnel to replace the Cowes Chain ferry. This will create an island that gives the young opportunities, the elderly healthcare, and the economy such a boon that we will live on an exclusive island, not an excluded one."
Third burglary at Sandown shop. A shop owner has been left devastated after his business was broken into for the third time in just 5 months. Gamal Ragheb posted CCTV stills on social media showing a youth who smashed his way into Zest gift shop in Sandown High Street in the early hours of Sunday morning. The youth entered the property at least twice, filling a bag with vaping products worth more than £4,000. Several residents in the town recognised the burglar and many gathered outside his home before phoning the police to report his name. Gamal said, "This yob stole from my shop at 2:30 a.m. and went back at 4:07 a.m. He smashed into Zest gift shop stealing more than £4,000 worth of my stock. The boy, who had a Nike backpack and hooded jumper, had the cheek to come back during the night filling his rucksack. Through the winter, we really rely upon vaping stock as we don't sell much of the tourist gifts, so this is a huge loss to us. We were insured, but each time this happens, our insurance premiums and excess goes up and up. It is devastating for us." Gamal's family has set up a crowdfunding page to help the business recover at www.gofundme.com. Police confirmed this took place between 2:15 a.m. and 4:10 a.m. Stock and money from the till were taken. A 17-year-old boy from Sandown was arrested on suspicion of burglary, aggravated vehicle taking and property damage, and possession of a Class B drug. He has been bailed until December the 8th.
And that's the end of the news from us, so it's goodbye from Pauline.
And it's goodbye from Mike. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
And now the second half of this morning's County Press, Friday, November the 15th, and it's being read by Den and
Megan.
Chrisling Services support children in need. Last year, thousands of people came together to attend 60 local Chrislington services across the Diocese of Portsmouth. These special events raise money for the Children's Society to help vulnerable children and young people. They enable us to provide direct support to those who may be experiencing abuse, neglect, or mental health issues, children who may be living in poverty as refugees or missing from home or care. Their Christmas may be broken, but together we can help these young people to rediscover hope for the future. That is why I am encouraging people from the island to attend a service and donate to the Children's Society. Please join us and share the light of christening.
And a bit of correspondence from Mrs. S. Wilson, Sandown. May I thank Des from Amar Taxis, who was a knight in shining armour recently following a fall my husband had in Newport. Des phoned for an ambulance as my husband was bleeding profusely from a cut to his eyebrow and had a broken arm, but on hearing that it could be a 2-hour wait and the heavens had just opened, he took us both to St Mary's in his taxi. Having made sure we were safely in A&E, he refused the money I gave him for himself, but donated it to the Poppy Fund. A real gentleman.
Allow more time, do me a favour, from Cliff Bennett, Cranmore. It appears Island Roads has a mandate to indiscriminately restrict any road, anywhere, anytime, regardless of how menial the task is, without the slightest consideration for the motorist. A few prime examples are the decision to connect services to the houses that are being built at Lushington Hill, which won't be completed for at least 6 months, at the same time as Park Road is closed for 8 weeks for bridge repairs. The tailbacks stretch back to the racecourse roundabout for much of the day and to the bridge at Wootton to the east, as there is no other east-west route available. After enduring 5 weeks of 3-way lights on Carisbrook Road at the junction of Trafalgar Road, on the very day that they were removed, they were reinstated at the junction of Drill Hall Road to, wait for it, pressure wash the stone wall that runs up one side of the Mall. The work lasted all week, gradually creeping up day on day. On the Wednesday they were at the junction of Wellington Road and chaos ensued. The closure of one lane at the top of Medina Way has turned into a huge game of dare, as those who wait patiently for their turn are constantly pushed back by those who race up the outside lane and literally force their way in at the obstruction. The whole debacle is turning into a nightmare for emergency services, particularly access to the hospital. The motorist is doing his or her best to accommodate them, but very often there is nowhere to go. The simple fact is work done on the roads has to be done and priorities have to be decided. But the third side of the triangle is the motorist, and much more could be done to minimise the impact on him. Please don't insult his intelligence by putting at the bottom of the warning signs, "Allow more time," or "Sorry for any inconvenience." For most of them are like me. We have no more time, and it's much more of an inconvenience than they can ever know.
And a letter from David Pugh, election agent for Conservative candidate Bob Seeley. And this is entitled, "Let This Election Be a Clean Fight." By the time this letter is published, we will know who has been nominated as candidates for the election on December the 12th as MP for the Isle of Wight. As the election agent for one of those candidates, Bob Seeley, seeking re-election, I would like to take this opportunity to wish all other candidates and their agents a healthy and constructive campaign over the weeks ahead. There is always a temptation to frame an individual candidate's campaign in contrast to the perceived shortcomings of another, which can often be coupled with attempts to cast aspersions on a rival's intentions. I hope this can be avoided by all the candidates during the forthcoming campaign, as I have no doubt that those standing are genuinely motivated by wanting to achieve the best for our island as a whole. Clearly, the 5 or more candidates standing in this election will offer competing visions of what they want to achieve for the island and how they would go about it. Bob Seeley will be setting out what he hopes to deliver during his next term as the island's MP, building on the progress made to date. Other candidates will offer an alternative approach, and the electorate will then make up their minds. Let's have a positive, fact-based campaign, and may the best candidate win.
Oh, hold on, it started already. From Ian Mackay, Totland. The upcoming general election must be going down as one of the most disreputable in British history. Firstly, it was called because Parliament refused to adhere to the wishes of the referendum result. And secondly, because political parties with precious few common ideologies are joining forces to call for either a second referendum of an abandonment of Brexit altogether, and finally, the electorate are being denied a full range of voting options as candidates are being squeezed out. On the Brexit-supporting Isle of Wight, we are left with a choice, so far, of an MP who supported Theresa May's non-Brexit withdrawal deal 3 times, a Labour candidate whose party supports a second vote, staying in the customs union and aligning regulatory standards with Brussels, and a Green candidate who simply wants to ignore the results of the referendum altogether. The Liberal Democrats have been edged out by the Greens, the Brexit Party have pulled out to give Bob Seeley a clear run, and word is that the independent campaigns are under enormous pressure to quit. To cap it all off, Brexit aside, this election is being fought on promises of massive government spending, tax rises and an inevitable decline into national bankruptcy. If none of the above was on the ballot sheet in December, it would certainly get my vote.
And from Anna Hardy, Shanklin, who consults on who consults? I, and I suspect many others, would love to know who constitutes the people the council has on its consultation list when it makes major decisions that affects us all, such as homelessness, mental health, public hygiene, closing toilets when tourists are gone. Who picks the people to represent various interests? On the issue of dogs in public places, who is advocating on the rights of the dogs to enjoy nature as was intended and representation of dog owners? I hereby volunteer to sit on this panel. I can then bring dozens of photographs I have taken of the rubbish and fly tipping left by adults and children on a simple 10-minute walk around Shanklin as an example of how unfit our public places are for dogs to walk on. I wonder how many of us dog walkers spend a fair amount of time collecting dangerous rubbish from beaches and paths to protect fish and other wildlife. I know a friend of mine lost a perfectly healthy and beautiful canine as a result of swallowing a baited hook on the beach, and we have to circumnavigate human feces on the cliff path where no fewer than 4 homeless people reside right now. So then, should we seriously consider banning humans from beaches and other public places as they are the main health hazards? Please, will current politicians vying for hot seats in the upcoming general election be sure to look beyond Brexit and be upfront about issues that matter to us in our day-to-day lives, and bear in mind 3/4 of island residents eligible to vote are dog owners, and not beyond organising acts of civil disobedience?
NHS Guilty of Inhumanity to Elderly Patients, from Hannah Bronwich Cowes. I note the inhuman conditions as an elderly dementia patient was kept in. County Press on the 8th of the 11th, 19. Incontinent pads rationed, etc., which only came to light because a concerned relative informed the County Press. There are relatively cheap technologies which can alert nurses and carers if a patient needs changing, and there is absolutely no excuse for any patient to be kept regularly in a urine-soaked state. The costs provided by the NHS Trust for its incontinence services make interesting reading. £578,118 for 9 months for 2,204 patients. That's £770,824 for a whole year. A lot of money? If we divide £770,824 by the number of patients and then by the number of days in the year, it comes to just 94 pence per patient per day. Our pound shop, Isle of Wight National Health Trust, is willing to see a patient kept in a urine-soaked condition because it doesn't want to spend more than 94 pence a day. Is that patient care or abuse? So who do we blame? The understaffed nurse care workers rushed off their feet and told there is a daily limit for 4 incontinent pads per patient? The care manager owner anxious to maximise profits and who see patients as a cash cow? The IWNHS Trust Isle of Wight Council Adult and Community Care Services constantly applying pressure to save money? The government, who have underfunded our NHS and brought many major key services to their knees? In a sense, apportioning of blame is irrelevant and misses the central issue. This is contriving physical and mental abuse of a vulnerable human being on the cruelest and most degrading kind. All the aforementioned are complicit in one way or another, and as such are unfit to hold office in any healthcare capacity.
And from Sarah Osuch Knighton. Call me old-fashioned, but as a child I loved the Harvest Festival service. Singing "We plough the fields and scatter" was joyful. It is a celebration of the successful harvest brought about by the hard work of our farmers, and when we show our appreciation and gratitude to them and Mother Nature. My daughter recently attended her children's service. Not so much a celebration as a lecture, with 10-year-olds shouting at the adults to stop destroying the world. This has to stop. Spread the message, yes, we need to, but not like this. Will those same children stand at the Christmas service shouting at their parents not to buy them mobiles or electronic gadgets or hairdryers before they fly off on holiday? Education means giving them simple, balanced information so that they can think for themselves rather than blindly following this current trend of which I, for one, am heartily sick. If you must bring it to church, then ask for donations of local produce with no packaging. Keep it simple. Please don't use and confuse our children, and certainly don't encourage them to shout at their parents. It's a tough enough job already. I am sure the intention was good, but very poorly applied.
This is Wight Memories, celebrating 50 years of high-speed service. Red Funnel is celebrating 50 years of continuous high-speed service between Southampton and West Cowes this year. As nostalgia for the anniversary sets in, the original Isle of Wight Ferry Company has delved into its extensive archives to explore how its high-speed ferries have changed over the years and decades. Over the past 50 years, Red Funnel has welcomed 13 high-speed ferries into its fleet to service the 11.7 miles route, starting with the hydrofoil Shearwater ferries. Shearwater entered service on May 5, 1969, and could carry 54 passengers. She was closely followed by Shearwater 2 in 1970, Shearwater 3 in 1972, and Shearwater 4 in 1973. Shearwater 5 and 6 joined the Red Funnel fleet in 1980 and 81 respectively, and served the Southampton to West Cowes route for almost 20 years. After Shearwater 6 was withdrawn from service in 1998, Shearwater 5 became the last of Red Funnel's hydrofoil ferries in service, until she was retired in 2000. Red Funnel entered the next phase of high-speed travel in April 1991, with the introduction of its first Red Jet catamaran ferry, Red Jet 1. She was the first water-jet-propelled high-speed vessel on the Solent and could carry 120 passengers, which was later increased to 138 passengers. She was also the first of Red Funnel's fleet to receive an official naming ceremony, being named by Lady Stewart at FBM's yard in Cowes. Red Jet 2 followed just 2 months later in June 1991, while Red Jet 3 joined the fleet in 1997. With an extra 52 seats, she helped to cope with the increasing commuter and tourist traffic. It was some 6 years later that Red Jet 4 entered service in early 2003, which saw twice the capacity of Red Jets 1 and 2 with 271 seats and space for 2 wheelchairs. Red Jet 4 also offered a transformation in terms of ride comfort, speed and low wash, and became the fastest commercial passenger catamaran operating in the Solent.
In 2009, Red Funnel snapped up the opportunity to add a further Red Jet to its fleet, welcoming Red Jet 5 into service in August 2009 during Cowes Week. 7 years later, Red Jet 6 entered service. Built by Shamara Refit LLP in East Cowes on the Isle of Wight, she marked the return of fast ferry building in the UK. In 2017, Red Funnel ordered its latest addition to its high-speed fleet, Red Jet 7. At 41.12 metres, Red Jet 7 is a sister vessel to Red Jet 6, with capacity for 275 passengers and 2 wheelchairs. Marking the company's second consecutive island-based ship order, Red Jet 7 was built at Wight Shipyard in East Cowes and entered service in July 2018 after being named by Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Cornwall. The event was held just over 2 years after a similar royal naming ceremony was held for Red Jet 6, which was named by Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal. Today, Red Funnel has 3 high-speed ferries in its fleet, Red Jets 4, 6 and 7, each with a top speed of 38 knots and transporting thousands of passengers between Southampton and West Cowes in just 25 minutes. Fran Collins, Chief Executive of Red Funnel, said, 2019 marks our 50th anniversary of high-speed service between Southampton and West Cowes. It's fantastic to look back and see the progression both the company and the ferry industry as a whole has made during this time, with all efforts focused on giving our customers the best travel experience possible.
Public information. Don't get caught by scams at Christmas. With Christmas fast approaching, IWASP is warning consumers to take added precautions when shopping online. It's important to make sure we do all we can to stay safe, to ensure we don't get scammed at what is possibly the most expensive time of year for most of us. Here are some handy tips. Protect your pounds. When shopping, check to be sure the site is securely enabled. Look for web addresses with https://. The S stands for secure. There should also be a padlock in the address bar. Personal information is like money, so value it and protect it. When making a purchase online, be alert to the kinds of information being collected to complete the transaction. Make sure you think it is necessary for the vendor to request that information. Remember, you only need to fill out required fields at checkouts. Conduct research. When using a new website for purchases, read reviews and see if other consumers have had a positive or negative experience with the site. Unique account, unique password. Having separate passwords for every account helps to thwart cybercriminals. Make sure your critical accounts have the strongest passwords. Don't be disappointed. Read return policies and other website information so you know what to expect if the purchase doesn't go as planned. Reporting a scam. For advice on scams, call Citizens Advice Consumer Helpline 0345 4040506. To report a scam, call Action Fraud 0300 123 2040. For more information on scams, visit www.iwasp.org.uk.
And now a column by Rebecca Rankarani, and this is her view on Christmas parties and party politics. Well, there's a lot to look forward to in December, chaps. Christmas cards and polling cards, Christmas catalogues and manifestos, door knocking, carol singers and political campaigners, nativity plays and hustings, Christmas parties, and joy to all with Christmas party politics. Hurrah! Add to this the heart-rending advertising from charities about the homeless, the NHS, the poor, the abused, the lonely, vulnerable and elderly, the heartstring-pulling political broadcasts made by earnest suits with tears in their eyes as they beg us to believe them when they tell us how they truly care about the homeless, the NHS and the poor. So, not only do we have to endure the cold, wet, wind and general misery of a British winter, we also have to deal with a government that has descended into a Shakespeare comedy. Except, unlike Shakespeare comedies that at least the contemporaries of the day thought were funny and satirical, we have a farce being played out for real, and people are suffering and frightened. I'm not finding any of this funny. And the only answer is for people to believe their vote will make a difference. Registering to vote and casting it is the one thing we can all do. I can't be the only one who was surprised at how brilliant the turnout for Brexit was, and how much difference that made. Whether you were for or against it, the fact so many voted made that difference. In these dark and dismal months, I reckon a top tip is to register for a postal vote. That way, if it's a bleak, horrible day, no one has to pitch up at the polling station. Bus delays, gridlocked traffic, parking, flu, Auntie Ethel visiting, wind, rain and snow won't matter a bit, as your vote is already winging its merry way to be counted. The media say the winter darkness and weather will discourage people from voting. Not true. We are made of sterner stuff. The highest turnout for any post-war election was in February 1950. Apparently, 1 in 5 people vote by post already. It's an incredibly easy process and very much more convenient for everyone, except perhaps the posties. They will be the ones bearing the brunt of Christmas and an election, as they deliver all the bump associated with both in the cold, wind, rain and dark. I expect they'll all deserve a decent tip and a nip of brandy this year. Let's hope we get to eat the turkey rather than be the turkey this year. and all get stuffed in the best possible way.
Behind the news. The history of the royal broadcast. As much a part of our Christmas tradition as mince pies and mistletoe, the royal Christmas Day speech is, for many at home, one of the highlights of the festive period, with dinner done and the table cleared away in time for everyone to gather around the TV in time for the Queen. The tradition of the royal Christmas message was begun by King George V in 1932, but the idea had first been mooted 9 years earlier by John Reith, later Lord Reith, the first general manager of the newly formed British Broadcasting Corporation. Reith had written to the King suggesting that His Highness might like to address the people of the Empire at some significant date in the calendar, such as Easter or Christmas. But the King, who had been on the throne since 1910, lacked confidence in his speaking ability and felt he couldn't perform as well as professional broadcasters, so declined the invitation. It wasn't until the then Labour Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald entered number 10 in 1929 that the idea of a royal message for the people was refloated. MacDonald was a pedestrian speaker when faced with the broadcasting microphone, and put it to the King that His Highness's style of speaking would be perfect, especially if His Majesty were to take advantage of the skills of author Rudyard Kipling to pen the speech. While the official photographers of that occasion show the King sitting behind a desk in a grand room, the actual broadcast came from a mini studio under the stairs at Sandringham. The Christmas message was a great success, with an estimated 10 million people throughout the Empire tuning in to listen, and it was this popularity that appealed to the King's sense of duty and convinced him to broadcast annually. His gravelly voice was perfect for radio, and he earned the nickname Grandpa England.
The King's eldest son, Edward VIII, was only on the throne for a year, abdicating to marry Wallis Simpson, and it was this message which was broadcast in December 1936, but on December the 11th and not at Christmas. There was no Christmas message in 1936. His younger brother, crowned King George VI, the present Queen's father, made his first broadcast in 1937. King George VI had a pronounced stammer, the topic of which featured in the award-winning 2010 film The King's Speech, and much like his father was a reluctant broadcaster. But his message in 1939, with the nation at war, united the Commonwealth in its resolve to defeat the Nazis. A new year is at hand, we cannot tell what it will bring. If it brings peace, how thankful we shall all be. If it brings us continued struggle, we shall remain undaunted. King George VI delivered his final Christmas message in 1951, which had been recorded in advance due to the King's ill health. The following Christmas, his eldest daughter, the newly crowned Queen Elizabeth II, made her first Christmas broadcast in 1957. She made the first televised royal Christmas message. The Queen has only failed to deliver one royal Christmas message in 1969, when she felt that there had been too much of the royals on TV.
Possibly her most famous Christmas message came in 1992 with the Annus Horribilis speech. This was the year that the marriages of Charles and Andrew collapsed. Windsor Castle suffered some substantial fire damage. Andrew Morton's book Diana, Her True Story, hit the bookshop shelves, and the details of telephone conversations between Charles and Camilla made the headlines.
And now, under entertainments, we see what's going on. So there is a little article here. Ryde Mayor using comedy to help men tackle mental health issues. Ryde Mayor Michael Lilly is hosting 2 special events to raise money and awareness of men's mental health. Councillor Lilly is staging a comedy night with his son Ben, billed as Mayor and Son's Big Night Out at Monkton Arts Cafe on Saturday, tomorrow that is, at 6:30 p.m. His son is Ben of the Green, a Manchester-based comedian. The pair will talk about the importance of humour in fighting internal demons. On Friday, November the 22nd, Councillor Lilly will host a film night as part of Men's Mental Health Month at Ryde Castle, with all monies raised going to Ryde Network, Ryde Town Council's youth service, and the Isle of Wight Youth Trust to support young men's emotional well-being projects in the town. There will be a special screening of hit comedy caper movie The Italian Job to celebrate its 50th anniversary, and that will be at 7 p.m. Councillor Lilly will introduce the film and talk about his own struggle with depression and how seeing the film in Ryde in 1970 made a huge impact on him as a young man. Mo Martin, sister of the late writer and the film's creator Troy Kennedy Martin, will talk about her memories of her brother making The Italian Job. And Claire Cannock, Isle of Wight Youth Trust Chief Executive, said, "We would like to support the Ryde Mayor we would like to thank the Ryde Mayor for his support. We're delighted to see his efforts championing the mental health of young people in Ryde. Tickets for both events are available from Ryde Town Council, Monkton Arts Cafe, Ryde Castle, and number 64 Cross Street."
The 23rd Bryston Christmas Tree Festival starts the 5th of December and runs until the 9th. There are over 250 decorated trees in 8 venues with free admission. Free park and ride from the Isle of Wight Pearl on the Military Road with a circular route including all venues, which are Brystone Church, the Methodist Church, Mottiston Church, the 3 Bishops, the Isle of Wight Pearl, the Reading Room, Wilberforce Hall and the Sun Inn, Halverston. All proceeds to local and national charities, and refreshments are available.
And Trinity Theatre Cowes presents Aladdin and His Wonderful Lamp, and that will be on Fridays, November the 29th and December the 6th at 7:30, Saturdays, November the 30th and December the 7th at 2:30, Sundays, December the 1st and December the 8th at 2:30, and the costs, adults £8, under 16s £5, and booking can be by telephone 01983 295 229.
Popular bass baritone singer Bob Wilkinson will once again perform at several events over the festive season. On Thursday the 21st of November, the 80-year-old will sing songs from the shows and festive variety tunes at St Faith's Church, Cowes. It starts at 10:30 a.m. On Saturday, December the 7th, Bob, who started out as a young chorister, will perform at Shanklin Methodist Church's Christmas Tree Festival, which starts at 11 a.m. The singer of Shanklin will also present an evening of Christmas music with soprano Georgina King and pianist George King at Bonchurch Social Club on Monday, December the 9th at 7:30 p.m.
And there is a concert in All Saints Church Ryde at 7 p.m. on Friday the 6th of December 2019, and that will be the Sinfonietta with Richard Stutt, and this is a world-class event, including music from Corelli, Vivaldi, Gluck, Handel, Jeremiah Clarke, Vivaldi again, Antonio Lotti and J.S. Bach. Tickets from £7 to £25. And you can book online anytime at www.ticketsource.co.uk/Island Concerts.
On Friday the 22nd of November at 7:30 p.m, tickets are £21, is the Country Superstars Experience. This truly unique show is hosted by Sarah Jane, who's been performing as Dolly Parton for over 25 years, and is Europe's leading tribute to the Queen of Country, Dolly Parton. The show also includes Patsy Cline, Johnny Cash, Billy Joe Spears, Kenny Rogers, Willie Nelson, Tammy Wynette, Gareth Brooks, John Denver and Glenn Campbell. The show also includes the Tennessee All-Stars Band.
And on the 23rd of November 2019, from 7:30 p.m. to 11 p.m, there is the Elvis and Neil Diamond Tribute Evening. Derek Madison with a tribute to two musical giants, Elvis Presley and Neil Diamond. Tickets available online or from the Winter Gardens. There's a telephone number 01983 857757. And this is all in aid of the Dementia UK. The online is www.ticketsource.co.uk/Ventnor Winter Gardens, and the tickets are £15.
And at Medina Theatre on the 23rd of November, Saturday, at 4 p.m. and 7:30 p.m, is Dick Whittington Grown Ups Only, the hilarious adult pantomime. Also at Medina Theatre, Sunday the 24th of November at 6 p.m, tickets £15, a tribute to Ariana Grande and Jojo Siwa. On Wednesday the 27th of November at Medina Theatre, tickets £23.50, is Carol, the music of Carole King. And the Vienna Festival Ballet presents The Nutcracker on Wednesday the 11th of December at 7 p.m, with tickets at £21 or £19.50 for seniors and £13.50 for juniors.
And now a few extra items. A range of maritime jobs showcased. More than 1,000 young people flocked to Cowes to discover their future careers as the Royal Yacht Squadron hosted a maritime careers fair. Businesses showcased career opportunities to groups of students, and employers gave talks about careers on seas. A spokesperson for the squadron said, "The day was a huge success, with more than 1,000 young people engaging with local and national exhibitors. They were able to access a huge range of businesses, from Red Funnel and Hover Travel to Wight Shipyard and Ratsey and Lapthorne sailmakers, but also including the Royal Navy, Princess Cruises, training and recruitment companies and other local enterprises." The young people came by the busload from schools across the island to seek advice from representatives of nearly 40 organisations. They were also able to gain valuable hands-on experience from vessels moored in the haven.
The Isle of Wight distillery has won an International Design Award for its beautiful mermaid gin bottle. It was awarded first place at this year's International Wine and Spirit competition for its sculptured plastic-free design, with a wood-topped cork and unique plant-based seal, beating entries from around the world. Xavier Baker, co-founder at the Isle of Wight distillery, Pondwell, said, "This award is proof that a commitment to being plastic-free and 100% recyclable doesn't mean you have to compromise on style. Thanks to a brilliant team and our partners, we've managed to balance both. This is such a prestigious award. We couldn't be more pleased. It's really an award for this innovative island as much as mermaid." And that's it from us today. It's goodbye and thank you from Den
And Megan.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
November 2019, Site for Wight, Isle of Wight Society for the Blind newsletter. Millbrook House, 137 Carisbrook Road, Newport, Isle of Wight, PO301DD.
And we start with a message from the chairman. Welcome to our newsletter. I'm sure you will find much to interest you. I look forward to the articles and photos in this well-presented publication. I'm always so impressed by the choice of life-enhancing experiences that are on offer. They range from sailing to singing, golf to zoo visits, strolling to swimming. We try to provide activities suggested by our members that cover a range of interests. If you're able to access our website, www.iwsb.org.uk, this has recently been updated and is easy to use. You will find information on all that is on offer, plus opportunities for training, for example, my guide, health and safety awareness, and safeguarding, plus lots of other useful information. Also, information on scaffolding and other pavement obstructions are identified each week in our Talking News. I would specifically like to mention the Useful Links column. There you will find the contact details of complementary organisations and government departments. Our appearances at various venues over the summer have a dual purpose of fundraising and publicity for the charity. Our next big fundraising occasion is the 4th short story writing competition. This year the theme is The Sound of Christmas. We're very lucky to have our celebrity panel of judges, consisting of Mervyn Hayes, Kate Weston, Edana Minghella and Michael Maloney. The award ceremony in December is always such an entertaining evening, so if you feel like you have a story, have a go. We're just so grateful to all those who fundraise for us, whether it's organising a coffee morning, assisting at bucket collections or through sponsorship. Our dress agency, Dress for Less, is well worth a visit. You can find an outfit for all occasions. Debbie and her team of volunteers are always on hand to help and offer advice. The recent fashion show organised by the team was so popular, it was wonderful to see so many people there. As always, the trustees are so grateful to all those who volunteer for us. They provide support, generosity of time, and without them, we couldn't manage. We're always looking for more, so if you can encourage someone to join us, we will be very pleased. I'm also aware that Miriam and her staff need special thanks for all their efforts on behalf of the charity, always supportive and always prepared to help. Many thanks to you all. Sue Bungay, Chair of Trustees.
2020 Vision Fundraising. Whilst grant applications are in progress, we anticipate that much of the support for 2020 Vision will come from generous individuals and local community groups across the island. Over the coming year, we will feature a whole raft of fundraising endeavours in support of 2020 Vision, and we hope that sharing these will encourage more people to get involved. To get us started, here are some of the team members at Millbrook House who have been volunteering their support. Sue volunteered her time delivering an outreach talk supported by her husband Peter. Please contact us if your organisation would be interested in hearing from us for a donation to the 2020 Vision project. Chris volunteered his time at FantasyCon, the island event for lovers of sci-fi and fantasy. He invited donations from fans to have their photos taken with his Dalek. Miriam has been sorting through her book collection to donate funds from Ziffit Sales, a very therapeutic way to declutter your home.
Message from the CEO. Late summer, early autumn has flown, and by the time you're reading this, I'm sure many of you will be planning for the Christmas holiday period. But before we start stocking up on mince pies and other festive treats, we have the 12th Annual General Meeting to look forward to on the morning of the 26th of November, to be held at Millbrook House. You will find details later in this edition. We warmly welcome members, volunteers and supporters to join us, as this provides the opportunity for us to showcase what we have been doing since the last AGM and what our plans are for the year ahead. Member Services. In this edition you will find details of the Christmas lunch for members, a visit to the pantomime and a couple of other interesting outings. There are also some fantastic reports and photos from some of the events and activities we have organised recently, including the day spent sailing in the Solent on a catamaran. Looking ahead to next year, we have just agreed the dates for our quarterly Members Forum meetings. Dates for 2020 are Wednesday the 22nd of January, Wednesday the 22nd of April, Wednesday the 22nd of July and Wednesday the 28th of October. The January 2020 meeting will definitely be at Millbrook House, but we are still looking for suitable alternative venues, especially on the south of the island. Meetings start at 11:30 and run until 1:30. Fundraising and income generation. There are reports and photos from a number of recent fundraising activities and events, and I would like to express a huge thank you to everyone who has worked so hard over the summer months at shows, stands, stalls and bucket collections. These outreach events are vital, not just in terms of generating income, but are so important in raising the profile of the charity. Plans are well underway for the annual story writing competition. Our major fundraising event that this year is on Monday the 9th of December, with the presentation of awards at an evening celebration. The theme this year is The Sound of Christmas, and we are delighted to welcome many voices who will be performing during the evening, including Medina Community Choir and Hannah Pereira. We will also be welcoming back the entertaining Huxley Magician. I very much hope that many of our members, volunteers and supporters will join us. Again, you will find the details reported later by our marketing, communications and fundraising manager. Dress for Less. The dress agency and boutique in St James's Street, established to provide revenue support to the charity, continues to trade very successfully. My congratulations go to the retail manager and all the wonderful volunteers who continue to support this venture. A ticketed fashion evening held at Dress for Less in July was such a success that another fashion evening is taking place on Wednesday the 13th of November, 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. Definitely worth a visit for anyone seeking a special dress for the party season, some handcrafted silver jewellery or fine cosmetics. Tickets are available from Dress for Less or Millbrook House, and at £3 includes a glass of Prosecco.
Volunteers and volunteering. As always, sincere thanks go to all those who enable and support the delivery of Sight for Wight services and activities with a gift of their time. Recruiting sufficient volunteers to ensure continuity of support and services, as many of our volunteers move towards their second retirement, is always a challenge. We always strive to do more for our members, and that drives more time spent raising our profile and fundraising. So it was great to see our volunteers manager ably supported by a number of our regular volunteers taking part in the recent Wellbeing event that attracted a steady flow of visitors recently at the Riverside Centre and a number of new volunteer inquiries. Volunteer training dates are currently being finalised for 2020, including the My Guide Sighted Guide programme, plus half-day sessions covering safeguarding, health and safety awareness, food hygiene awareness and emergency first aid training. Places on these programmes will be limited, so we welcome early responses from those interested. Once finalised, details with outline programmes will be emailed to all volunteers. If on no other occasion, I look forward to seeing many of our volunteers at the final volunteer team update of 2019 to enjoy mulled wine, mince pies and music from the Wight Ukers on Tuesday the 10th of December. As usual, for such get-togethers, formal RSVP invitations will be issued. Welcome to new team members. October saw the appointment of 2 new staff to support the team at Millbrook House, and you will find articles where they introduce themselves later. Jasmine joins as the 2020 Vision Apprentice on a 1-year contract. Following the reduction of hours worked by a Member Services Manager, we've also taken on Morgan to work as a Member Service Assistant on Fridays. As a young VI member herself, once Morgan has settled into the role, she will be taking a lead in developing more of a network and activities for younger VI members. With a confident and outgoing nature, Morgan will soon be a great asset, encouraging the wider engagement of younger islanders affected by sight loss. Transport Working Party members. The first meeting of the Transport Working Party took place on Tuesday the 17th of September to review the current and future transport needs and services for members. Terms of reference have been agreed and we enjoyed a productive meeting with participants variously agreeing to undertake further research ahead of the next meeting, scheduled for the afternoon of the 19th of November. The Working Party will gather information to present a report for trustees to be deliberated at the February 2020 meeting. 2020 Vision. The preliminary stages of the project are well underway and there is a detailed report on the development and piloting of the education programme later in this edition. A major grant application has been submitted in support of the project and efforts are now underway to involve more community groups and local businesses in supporting this exciting endeavour. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Jasmine to the team, working with us for a year as a 2020 Vision Apprentice. Jasmine will be documenting and tracking all our correspondence in relation to the 2020 Vision project and will be key to promoting and acknowledging all fundraising endeavours in support of 2020 Vision. With a background and degree in early years, Jasmine has settled very quickly into her role. Trusting this newsletter again provides an interesting read and useful insight into our plans over the coming months. I very much hope that I will have the opportunity to see many of you at the AGM or one of our events in the run-up to Christmas. With warmest wishes to you all, Miriam Tong, Chief Executive.
Portable HD desktop magnifier on the go. Amigo, your portable HD video magnifier on the go, displays amazing crystal clear HD images with vibrant images on a large 7-inch widescreen LCD. So lightweight and simple to use, you will never want to be without it. Place it directly on your reading material or hold it up to view an item away from you. Hobbies are simple with Amigo's HD's adjustable viewing stand. Adjust magnification and contrast with an easy press of a button. Read price tags, menus, labels, street signs and more, anywhere. Only £625, that's a saving of £100 and it's with Optelec. A perfect Christmas gift for a loved one. You can ring on free phone 080 8090 8090 for a free home trial or online www.optelec, that's optelec.co.uk.
100 Club. Thank you to our new 100 Club members who joined this quarter of the 100 Club. Did you know we run our own monthly lottery draw? It's just £2 per month per number. Could 2 or 99, which are both available, be your lucky number. If you wish to join to have a chance of winning our monthly prize, please call 52205 or email Lisa on finance@iwsb.org.uk. The more people who join, the bigger the monthly prize. Congratulations to this quarter's winners, including Ruth Hollingshead and John Moore, and a welcome to our new members.
Printer cartridges for recycling. Site for Wight would like to say thank you to all our members, volunteers and friends who have been bringing in their used computer cartridges to Millbrook House over the last few years for us to recycle for fundraising. Recycle for Charity, the company who process these for us, are now only able to take the following makes of inkjet cartridges: HP, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Neopost and Samsung. We regret that we are no longer able to accept toner cartridges either as recycling. These incurs a cost.
Financial results year ended 31st of March 2019. The report of the trustees and unaudited financial statements for the year ended 31st of March 2019 have been lodged with the Charities Commission and is available from their website and our website. A presentation of the report and accounts will be made at the AGM to be held on Tuesday 26th of November. In summary, key figures for the year ended March 2019 are given with comparative figures for the previous year, ended March 2018. Total income 2019, 101,948. In 2018, 75,438. Total expenditure 2019, 156,453. In 2018, 166,934. Net income 2019, minus 53,257. In 2018, minus 95,899. During the past year, we have increased our income and we have achieved further savings on overheads on the previous year. However, the amounts received in donations and legacies and achieved through fundraising still fell short of the total expenditure. Whilst we are on average receiving the same number of legacy gifts as in previous years, the value of these gifts have fallen, which we believe reflects the fact that many older people today are required to use their assets to cover the cost of residential care in later life, consequently reducing the sums that might otherwise have been gifted to family, friends and the chosen charitable causes. There are various plans in progress to address this income deficit, as identified in the full annual report and accounts available from our website. We have recognised the need to widen our income streams to include revenue from trust and grant funding sources, and to broaden and increase revenue from fundraising initiatives, and to build on revenue generated by Millbrook Enterprises CIC, the trading company established to support Salt for Wight. Our 2020 Vision project will be key to raising the profile of the charity and broadening the number of our supporters, so that we can continue the vital support and services we offer. If you would like to hear a fuller report, please let us know in advance if you would like to attend the AGM, scheduled for 10:30 a.m. on Tuesday the 26th of November at Millbrook House. Please arrive from 9:30 a.m. for coffee and pastries and to enjoy an exhibition of our work and plans for the year ahead.
That's Miriam Tong, our CEO. Audio cassette tapes at Tesco. A huge thank you to Tesco Extra and customers in Ryde who have been extremely generous and supportive and given donations for our old audio cassette tapes. Janice Gibson, Community Champion, has been very kind and organised 2 sessions. The first was in July, where £331.14 was raised, and more recently in September, where £314.23 was raised. We've just given Janice a 3rd batch of tapes to sell, so hope to raise further funds for the charity. That's Chris Kane, Marketing, Communications and Fundraising Manager.
You are invited to our 12th annual general meeting to be held at Millbrook House, 137 Carisbrooke Road, Newport, PO30 1DD, on Tuesday the 26th of November 2019 at 10:30 a.m. Agenda: 1. Welcome from the Chairman. 2. Apologies for absence. 3. The Chairman and the Chief Executive present a brief review of the year since April 2019. 4. The Chairman and the Chief Executive present a preview of plans for the year ahead. 5. To receive and consider the minutes of the 11th AGM held on the 26th of February 2019. 6. To receive the Trustees' annual report and accounts for the year ended 31st of March 2019. 7. Appointment of Charity Trustee Directors. 1. Susan Bungay. To reappoint Susan Bungay, retiring by rotation and standing for re-election for a further 3 years. 2. Ruth Hollingshead. To reappoint Ruth Hollingshead, retiring by rotation and standing for re-election for a further 3 years. 3. Paul Rutherford. To reappoint Paul Rutherford, retiring by rotation and standing for re-election for a further 3 years. 4. Any additional nominations by guarantor members. Back to numbers. 8. To reappoint Independent Examiner Moore South LLP. 9. Any other business. To deal with any matters raised at the meeting. On behalf of the Board of Charity Trustee Directors, Miriam Tong, Chief Exec.
New team member. Hello, I'm Jasmine, the new administration apprentice. Before starting this new role, I worked for the last 5 years with children, gaining qualifications and a degree. I did this while supporting children and their families, both here on the island and on the mainland. Before that, I spent 3 years gaining art and design qualifications on the mainland, using my creative side to create pieces of art for college work and shows and exhibitions. My hobbies include photography, spending time with my family and friends, and sightseeing here on the island. I'm hoping to use both my experiences with caring and art through this apprenticeship and look forward to the new challenges I face in this new environment. I'm looking forward to learning more as the apprenticeship continues, meeting new people and helping as much as possible with this lovely team at Site for Wight.
Day sailing on the Spirit of Scott Bader. We were delighted to offer a day sailing thanks to our Member Services Manager and Gwenilly Sailing Trust aboard the Spirit of Scott Bader catamaran on Thursday the 19th September 2019. The weather was perfect for sailing with sun and a good breeze. Our members and sighted guides met at East Cowes Marina and got acquainted with the boat before setting sail for Southampton. After crossing the Solent, they found that the Southampton boat show was in full swing and were able to get up close before enjoying the return trip back to East Cowes. Everyone enjoyed the good humour of Skipper John and his first mate and also had the opportunity to steer the boat. Here are some of the members' comments. The sailing day was fantastic, the sense of freedom was great, sight loss can sometimes make you feel a little trapped. Fantastic day with a wonderful skipper. The highlight for me was crossing the Solent in the net with the sea directly below us. A huge thanks to everyone involved in making this happen, including staff and volunteers and our members for supporting the activity.
A huge thank you to those who entered our short story writing competition this year with the theme The Sound of Christmas. The closing date is Friday the 8th of November, after which our team of dedicated volunteers and staff will sort through the entries into categories for anonymising. This year's celebrity readers are Melvin Hayes, Michael Maloney, Idana Minghella and Kate Weston. On Monday the 9th of December, we will be hosting our short story writing competition awards ceremony at the Riverside Centre, Newport. Doors open from 6:30 p.m. with the ceremony starting at 7. We have entertainment from the Medina Community Choir, Huxley Magician makes a return appearance, and the lovely Hannah Pereira will delight us with her melodic tones. You don't have to enter the competition to attend the awards ceremony. It will be a fun-packed evening for everyone to enjoy, so please come along and support us and soak up the festive atmosphere. Chris Kane, Marketing, Communications and Fundraising Manager.
Asda Green Token Scheme. Sight for Wight is delighted to be one of the chosen charities for the Asda Green Token Scheme for the next 3 months. If you happen to be shopping in Asda, then please pop your green tokens in the Sight for Wight section. We will be most grateful.
Sight for Wight goes back to school to mark World Sight Day. World Sight Day, WSD, is an annual day of awareness held on the second Thursday of October to focus global attention on blindness and visual impairment. To mark this day, Sight for Wight went back to school. Chief Executive Miriam Tong spent the entire morning with the 62 Key Stage 1 pupils, aged 5 to 7 years, and the teaching staff at Lanes End Primary School in Cowes. Miriam explained, since the beginning of the year, Sight for Wight has been working on the development of our 2020 Vision Key Stage 1 education programme that links to the national curriculum, looking at sight, sight loss and promoting an understanding of lifestyle choices that support avoidable sight loss. Sessions have been developed covering science, history, maths, geography, technology, literacy and music. With the help of Island graphic designer Sean Cuff, we've also designed a fantastic take-home pack so children can share what they have learnt with their families. All of the island's primary schools were given the opportunity to participate in trialling the materials developed, and from those schools who initially indicated a willingness to get involved in testing the programme with Sight for Wight this autumn. 3 pilot schools have been closely involved: Dover Park Primary in Ryde, Medina House Special School in Newport and Lanes End Primary School in Cowes. Miriam said, "I would like to say a special thank you to everyone involved at the 3 schools. I am hugely grateful to have had the support and involvement of the heads, class teachers, assistants and most especially the 101 star pupils from these 3 schools who have been so brilliant in taking part and testing the activities. Together they have tried all of the sessions to see how everything works and what changes we can make to the activities to ensure they are interesting and accessible as possible. Our aim is to ensure that everyone has fun whilst they are learning more about sight, sight loss and the things we can all do to best look after our sight. It has been a great pleasure to work with the children and staff from these schools, and their involvement in the development of our 2020 Vision Key Stage 1 education programme has been invaluable."
To guide them through some of the materials and activities, the pupils are introduced to 4 animal characters that support the 2020 Vision education programme, each of whom enjoy special characteristics with regard to sight. Sight for Wight's animals are Swoop the barn owl, who reminds us all of the wisdom of having regular eyesight tests; Digger the mole, who promotes the importance of us finding a form of sport or exercise that we enjoy. It doesn't have to be digging; Bounce the brown long-eared bat, who reminds us of the need to eat a healthy diet to maintain a balanced weight; and Salty the white-tailed sea eagle reminds us of the importance of protecting our sight, whether from harmful effects of sunshine if we don't wear sunglasses, or the importance of wearing goggles or safety glasses that can protect us from potential hazards like chlorine in the swimming pool or physical particles getting into our eyes. Class teacher at Dover Park Primary, Mrs. Hayley Roberts, whose pupils helped choose the names for our 4 featured animals, said, The children love the animal characters who help them take on board some important messages about sight and sight loss, and they enjoyed sharing at home what they learnt in school with the take-home packs provided. Once the final pilot sessions are concluded and materials evaluated and reviewed, Sight for Wight expects to take the 2020 Vision education programme forward. CEO Miriam Tong concluded, over the coming years, subject to successful fundraising, we would like to be able to offer these fun, engaging and interactive sessions to all Ireland's primary schools. Sight for Wight is committed to promoting avoidable sight loss, and we're better to start giving important messages about how to protect our sight than with the young children and their families. Of course, with more than 3,000 children in this key Stage 1 age group across the island, we have a great deal of work ahead of us. So we will welcome the involvement of any individual, group or businesses who would like to support us in any way. You can follow our progress via the 2020 Vision pages on the website.
Room to hire at Millbrook House. If you run a business and are seeking a spacious office, a level walk or very short drive from Newport Town Centre, you might be interested in leasing our former meeting room. The rental guide for this well-appointed room, available to lease on a flexible, all-inclusive basis, excluding ICT, phone and business rates, is £666 per calendar month. For details and all inquiries, please contact Scotcher & Co. Commercial Estate Agents on 01983 822288. Their website is www.scotcherandco.co.uk.
Sight for Wight walking groups. Hello, I am Mel, and as many of you know, I plan and lead the Strollers and Striders walking groups, aided by a great bunch of sighted guides, without whom the walks would not take place. However, not all sighted guides are available on any given date, so this is an appeal for volunteers to join us. You do not have to be super fit. For Striders, you will need to be sufficiently active to walk between 4 and 6 miles over a variety of terrain. It is a great way of getting healthy exercise whilst walking in areas of the island that you may not have been before. You also meet people from diverse backgrounds and with different interests and talents. The Striders group has their resident joker, Graham. Whilst striding, we have encountered some surprising situations, including coming across 7 red deer and being entertained after lunch by handbell ringers. The Striders group is held on the last Friday of each month. The details are dispatched a few weeks before and include, among other things, the route, details of the terrain and length, walk start and end points, lunch venue details, and the walk start time. Finishing times are not stated, as these will be affected by the makeup of the group, the weather on the day, route diversions, how soon we get served at lunchtime, and also how much we eat. As a guide, when using the minibus, we are usually back at Millbrook House in Carisbrooke between 3:30 p.m. and 4 p.m. Where possible, we use public transport to get to and from the start and finishing points. The minibus is only used if the walk is not on a bus route or the service is too sparse. Sight for Wight volunteers are dedicated and already give up their time for many other Sight for Wight activities, but if you are a volunteer or are interested in becoming one, why not give the Striders group a try? As volunteers, we have an interesting, healthy day with lunch and a laugh, but more importantly, we offer the support required for our visually impaired members to do the same. Full training, including a DBS check and sighted guide training, will be given. If this appeals to you, please contact Sight for Wight Volunteers Manager Susan Early for more information. Mel Barnes.
Summer visit to the Isle of Wight Zoo. A large group of members, relatives, friends and volunteers visited the Isle of Wight Zoo on Thursday the 29th of August. The zoo is well known as a centre of rescued big cats, all of which have come to their forever homes at the zoo at different stages of their lives and from a variety of backgrounds. As well as the big cats, there are also reptiles, lemurs, farm animals, monkeys, birds, bees and meerkats, to name a few. We were able to explore the zoo, see the animals and hear all the loud noises they make. Our group then enjoyed a special talk from zookeeper Gary, who also allowed us to meet some of the animals, including hedgehogs, goats, leopard gecko, tree frog, python and stick insects. Thank you to everyone at the zoo for a great visit.
Diary and calendar orders. We're now taking orders for 2020 diaries and calendars. This year, VIP diaries have imposed a minimum number for orders that we place on your behalf. Therefore, we'll be placing orders on Monday the 11th of November, Monday the 25th of November and Friday the 6th of December. The final closing date for orders will be on Wednesday the 3rd of December. Any orders after this date will need to be made by yourself directly to VIP Diaries. Payment can be made by cash or card on collection. Cheque made payable to Site for Wight or card payment over the phone. Please contact the charity on 522205 to request an order form and for more information on what is available.
Isle of Wight Council Travel Consultation 2019. In July 2019, the Isle of Wight Council launched a consultation on potential changes to its current concessionary travel scheme. The proposed changes do not affect free travel arrangements for older and disabled residents who wish to travel on island buses between 9:30 a.m. and 11 o'clock p.m. that is, but do affect other travel times. Proposed free travel for a travelling companion of a disabled person would also be retained for bus journeys between 9:30 a.m. and 11 o'clock p.m. It is hoped that the new proposals would align the island to many other parts of the country and enable the council to make savings in the process. Off-peak bus travel would remain for all English National Concessionary Bus Pass holders, ENCBP. But the off-peak travel for the new Silver Island card, that's for a travelling companion, and the new Gold Island card, mental health, would be lost. There would be no travel available in peak hours for either the ENCBP, Silver Island card or Gold Island card. There would also be no travel concessions at all for rail services at any time. Cabinet Member for Public Transport, Councillor Ian Ward said, "For some time we've been looking carefully at the extra discretionary elements we provide for islanders above and beyond what is available in many other parts of England. This consultation will seek people's views on how we can fairly and acceptably amend the scheme to bring us in line with a lot of other parts of the country and generate savings to benefit islanders in other service areas." Site for Wight advertised details of the press release on our Talking News service and invited members to take part in the online survey. We were invited to an engagement workshop at the Isle of Wight Council to discuss the consultation, and we also encouraged members to provide us with their views, which we took with us and read out to the room. The Isle of Wight Council consultation period is now closed while they discuss the proposed changes with independent consultants. Site for Wight will update our members as soon as we hear the results of the consultation.
Dress for less. As I promised in my last newsletter, I am very happy to share with you some lovely photographs of our fashion evening. The evening was a great success, very busy, happy atmosphere, and we raised an amazing £838.75. I would like to say a huge thank you to all our lovely volunteers who donated prizes and gave up their time to make the evening such a success. I'm also happy to announce that we will be holding another fashion evening on Wednesday the 13th of November. This will be a wonderful opportunity to start your Christmas shopping. Tickets are now on sale at Dress for Less. We do hope to see you there. We had a summer evening meal for the volunteers at the Breeze. It was very well attended and provided a wonderful opportunity for everyone to relax and get to know each other. We welcome 4 new volunteers to our magnificent team: Caroline, Carol, Kate and Elaine. We hope that they enjoy their time with us. We have a Christmas get-together booked for the beginning of December before taking a short break over the festive period, providing the opportunity to take a well-earned rest and to recharge the batteries for an exciting start to the new year. I would like to take this opportunity to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and to thank you for your continued and much appreciated support. Debbie Durbridge, Retail Manager.
Volunteer News Round. Welcome. We are pleased to welcome several new volunteers to our volunteering team, along with several new inquiries which should help fill some of our current vacancies. This is fantastic, and I hope all our volunteers feel welcome within their new posts. Sadly, since the last edition, we have said goodbye to one of our long-standing volunteers from our Talking News team, and I had the pleasure to present Zara with a beautiful floral bouquet at our freshwater coffee morning. We wish Zara all the best for the future. We have also lost a couple of volunteers due to personal reasons and health issues. Again, we wish them all the best and thank them for all their hard work and dedication. Volunteering vacancies. We still desperately require minibus escorts. I'm sorry to keep asking, but minibus escorts are essential to ensure the continuation of all our activities. We are also looking for sighted guides to help with our monthly strider groups and shop assistants for our Dress for Less shop. If you know any family member or friend who may be interested, please ask them to call me on 5222205 to discuss the posts further. Volunteer Team Updates 2019, date for your diary, 10th of December, 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at Millbrook House. We will be having festive nibbles and drinks and hopefully entertainment. Invites will be sent out soon. Sighted Guide Training, dates for your diary. The next planned training is on the 3rd of December. All training sessions are held at Millbrook House and start at 9:30 a.m. If you would like to attend, please contact me for more details. The following training sessions are taking place in November at Millbrook House, and all volunteers are encouraged to take part. If you would like to attend, please contact me. Professional Boundaries and Safeguarding Training on Wednesday the 27th of November, and Health and Safety Awareness Training again on Wednesday the 27th of November in the afternoon. Volunteering Roundup. I would like to thank all the volunteers who helped at the events during the summer. It is very much appreciated. We had fantastic support at both the Chale and Wolverton shows, plus our bucket collections in local supermarkets. Without our volunteers, we couldn't attend these shows and raise vital funds for the charity. On the Sunday the 6th of October, I attended the Mindfulness Fair at the Riverside Centre to promote volunteering within Sight for Wight, and would like to thank my 3 volunteers who came along and were fantastic ambassadors for the charity, talking to people about what we do and how volunteering helps with your health and well-being. It was a very enjoyable day, and I am now planning my next event, which is the annual volunteering fair in January. A big thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the volunteers for your continuing support, time and commitment. I am feeling settled now in my new post and hopefully have had the opportunity to meet most of the 100 volunteers over the last 4 months since taking on the role of Volunteers Manager. Please remember, if you have any queries or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me. My normal working hours are Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Susan Early, Volunteers Manager.
Audiobook groups. Audiobook groups are a great way to meet other people and discover books you may not have read before. Generally, the format is similar for most book groups. There is discussion about the last month's book, which can often veer off to other interesting subjects. Refreshments are provided, and then the book for the next month is handed out. Books are available on USB stick or CD. Sight for Wight runs a monthly audio book group at the Lord Louis Library in Newport. We meet on the second Wednesday of each month at 2 o'clock for about an hour. The group is free to join and guide dogs are welcome. If Newport is not a suitable location for you, there are other groups situated around the island. Freshwater Library holds an audio book group on the last Tuesday of each month, meeting at 11 a.m. for about an hour. The group is run by Alistair, who has run the Freshwater Library audio book group for many years and is now looking to start a new one at Sandown Library. If you would be interested in joining the group, please contact Sandown Library on 402748 with your name and contact details, and they will pass all your details to Alistair. Ryde Library holds their group on the second Friday of each month at 11 a.m. for about an hour. This book group is not run by Sight for Wight, so for further information please contact Joe at Ryde Library on 823 825.
Changes to coffee mornings. We hold a number of coffee mornings around the Isle of Wight. Following feedback from members and volunteers, we are making some changes to our coffee mornings. Due to dwindling numbers, we have decided to stop the coffee mornings at the End of the Line Cafe in Freshwater. These meetings took place on Tuesdays. Both the Cows and Ryde coffee mornings at Costa Coffee are being stopped for the time being. The monthly God's Hill coffee morning at the Old Smithy is proving to be very popular, and we will be increasing these meetings to fortnightly. All these changes are with immediate effect. The details of the current coffee morning locations follow. All are welcome to attend. The groups are very friendly. For more information, call Sight for Wight on 522205. Tuesdays, we attend the Our Place community drop-in session at the West Wight Community Centre in Mower Place, Freshwater, once a month on a Tuesday between 10 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. Dates vary each month and are advertised on our Talking News service. Free refreshments are available. Wednesdays, we hold a weekly coffee morning on Wednesday at Millbrook House in Newport from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. A cup of tea or coffee and a slice of cake is £1. On the first Wednesday of each month, we are joined by the Macular Society for their meet-up. Thursdays, the God's Hill coffee morning is held fortnightly on a Thursday at the Old Smithy Coffee Shop, 10:30 a.m. till 11:45 a.m. Refreshments can be purchased from the coffee shop. Upcoming dates are as follows: 14th of November, 28th of November, 12th of December. There's no meeting on the 26th of December, nor on 9th of January, 23rd of January or the 6th of February.
Dick Whittington Pantomime at Medina Theatre, Saturday the 21st of December 2019. Start time, meet at 1:30 p.m. for a 2 p.m. performance. Approximate show time is 2.5 hours. Cost is £15 per ticket, and minibus if required is £2. Closing date for applications is Wednesday the 20th of November. Minibus transport may be available depending on location. Join us at Medina Theatre for a matinee production of the pantomime Dick Whittington and His Cat. With a strong, family-friendly cast, this should be a fun and entertaining afternoon as we help Dick defeat the wretched King Rat and regain the affections of dear Alice. Spaces are limited and will be confirmed by Friday the 22nd of November. Please note that full payment will be required in advance. All activities are subject to demand and availability of volunteers for driving and supporting as sighted escort guides. For more information, please contact 52205 if you want to call, or you can email Laura on members@iwsb.org.uk.
Visit to the Isle of Wight Pearl, Monday the 10th of February 2020. The Isle of Wight Pearl, Military Road, Bryston, Isle of Wight. Meet at 10:45. The talk is at 11 a.m. There is no charge for the Pearl Masterclass talk. Minibus, if required, is £2 donation, plus money for refreshments. The closing date for applications is Monday the 20th of January. Join us for a visit to the Isle of Wight Pearl and join the Pearl Masterclass, a free, informative talk about pearls. The talk lasts about 30 minutes. There is then the option to look around the centre or have refreshments in the cafe. All dogs are welcome, both in the main venue and the Pearl Cafe. Please note, all activities are subject to demand and availability of volunteers for driving and supporting as sighted guide escorts. If any activity is oversubscribed, applications will be drawn from a hat and a waiting list will be made for priority selection on a repeat visit. For more information, please contact Laura on 522205 or email her at members@iwsb.org.uk.
What's on at site for Wight? Ryde Swimming Group. A swimming group meets every Tuesday evening from 8 p.m. till 8:45 p.m. at the Waterside Pool in Ryde. They have exclusive use of the pool during this session. The group is open to any visually impaired person who is a keen swimmer or who just enjoys being in the water. The pool's lifeguards are in attendance during the session. Pre-registering with Site for Wight is essential, otherwise you may be refused admittance. The cost is £5 to swim. West Wight Swimming Group. On the third Wednesday of each month, members join the West Wight Swimming Pool Special Care Session. This runs from 12 noon till 1 p.m. The pool temperature is raised and extra staff are on hand to offer assistance. The pool's lifeguards are in attendance during this session. The cost £4.20 to swim. Wednesday Coffee Morning. We hold a coffee morning each week on a Wednesday at Millbrook House from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. All are welcome to join us for a cup of tea or coffee and cake. The cost is £1 and the group is open to all, not just members. On the first Wednesday of each month we are joined by the Macular Society for the monthly meet-up. Wednesday Low Vision Drop-In. Every Wednesday between 10 a.m. and 12 noon we hold a low vision drop-in session. This coincides with the coffee morning and allows you to view and try the low vision equipment we have at Site for Wight without the need for an appointment. If this time is not suitable for you, then you're welcome to call us to make an appointment to view our low vision equipment. Thursday Social Group. The Thursday Social Group meets every week from 10:30 a.m. till 2 p.m. at Millbrook House, where they engage with other visually impaired people, socialise and enjoy lunch together. In the afternoon, the group welcome volunteers who come in to read from various books. The weekly cost to join the group is £3.
Monthly book group. Site for Wight hold a book group on the second Wednesday of each month at the Lord Louis Library in Newport. The group runs from 2 p.m. for about an hour. We discuss the last month's book and then hand out the book for the next month. Books are available on USB stick or CD. Refreshments are provided and guide dogs are welcome. There is no charge to join the book group. If you'd like more information, please call Laura on 01983 522205 or email members@iwsb.org.uk. Sing About. On the first Wednesday of the month, members join the Wootton Sing About session, which is run by Independent Arts. Sing About is a social singing activity which can help improve memory, breathing and confidence. It is a great opportunity to meet new people and all are welcome. The session runs from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at St Mark's Church. Refreshments are provided. There is no cost for the session, although donations to Independent Arts are appreciated. Strollers. Strollers meet on the second Tuesday of the month. They go for gentle strolls, enjoying the countryside or coastal views. This is followed by lunch at a pub or restaurant. The group is open to all visually impaired people who like a leisurely walk of about a mile. The cost to walk with the group is £3. Striders. Striders meet on the last Friday of every month. They walk on different routes around the island and then finish off with lunch at a local pub or restaurant. This group is open to all visually impaired people who like longer walks in the countryside. The cost to walk with the group is £3. Bowling. The bowling group meets once a month at LA Bowl in Ryde. The cost is £3.95 for one game and shoe hire. This is followed by refreshments and a chat at the bar. Please note there is no transport for this group. Golf. The golfers meet once a month on a Sunday morning at Westridge Golf Club Ryde. The group go onto the driving ranges and out onto the course. An instructor is available to help out beginners. The golf session lasts around an hour and is followed by refreshments and a chat in the cafe. Transport may be available for some of the groups. A donation for the minibus is £2. If you are interested in joining any of the activities, again please contact Site for Wight for more information on 522205 or email members@iwsb.org.uk.
2020 Members Forum dates. Members Forums will be held on the following dates. Wednesday the 22nd of January, 11:30am till 1pm. Wednesday the 22nd of April, 11:30am till 1pm. Wednesday the 22nd of July, 11:30am till 1pm. And Wednesday the 28th of October, 11:30 till 1pm. To be added to the email list for Members Forum updates, including agenda, location, etc., please email members@iwsb.org.uk.
2019 Members Christmas Party Invitation. The venue is at the White Line, Arreton, on the 19th of December, and the tables are booked for 12:30. The cost is 2-course meal, £19.95, or a 3-course meal, £25.95. The closing date for applications, Friday the 22nd of November. Minibus transport may be available depending on the location. Join us at the White Line for a festive Christmas lunch. Places must be booked and paid for in advance. To register your interest and request a menu, please call 522205 or email members@iwsb.org.uk.
Dates for your diary. Site for Wight are holding a bucket collection at Asda, Newport on Tuesday the 12th of November from 10am to 12 noon. Please come along and say hello. Site for Wight will be hosting a coffee morning at Shorewall Village Hall on Saturday the 30th of November 2019 from 10am to 12 noon. There will be homemade cakes, books, jigsaws, DVDs, along with a tombola and raffle. Come along and support us. Have a chat, enjoy a cup of tea or coffee. If you have raffle prizes to donate, we would like to make some homemade cakes to help raise funds, then please contact us on 522205. We'll be holding 2 low vision days in 2020 on Saturday the 21st of March and Tuesday the 22nd of September. More details to follow. Upcoming member activities. Members Christmas lunch on Thursday the 19th December. Festive pantomime at Medina Theatre on Saturday the 21st of December. Visit to the Isle of Wight Pearl on Monday the 10th of February 2020. To register your interest in these activities or for more information, please call 522205 or email members@iwsb.org.uk.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
A couple of examples of that much prized buzzword inclusion. In a few minutes, why there'll be some Braille in the shops this Christmas. Well, one shop actually, but it's a start. And you don't come much more included than tonight's other guest, a blind film producer and advisor. Here's why.
Centuries from now, almost all humans have lost the ability to see.
A group of woodland warriors moves over a rocky crest.
Some say sight was taken from them by God to heal the earth. But after so many years, the power of sight has returned.
A newborn is held.
The children, they have the ability to see.
For centuries, we feared this day would come. The evil of light once almost destroyed the world, and now it has returned. Find the children who can see and bring them to me.
Well, that's from See, a 4-part TV series made by Apple TV Plus, which started up at the beginning of this month. And they decided that if they were going to make a whole series based on blindness, it might be a bad idea to find someone to make sure they actually got it right. Well, Joe Strechay was hired for insights like this, found on his YouTube page.
You go up to the urinal with your cane and tap, tap, hopefully someone says something, but otherwise you might be poking someone right between the legs or in the legs as they're urinating, and that's a treat for them and you. I go into the stall. Every public restroom stall is an adventure. So you go in, you enter in there, you check for toilet paper because you don't want to end up sitting in poop.
Joe Strechay, welcome in person to the programme from Harrisburg in Pennsylvania.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's a great pleasure. Thank you.
So, Joe, why did you get this gig?
So I've worked on a few other shows. I worked with the USA Network's Royal Pains with their writer's room on 3 episodes of a show. And then I worked on Marvel's Daredevil on Netflix starring Charlie Cox, who's a Brit. And then worked on the OA for Netflix as well, starring Britt Marling. And they sought me out. You know, I've had other opportunities, but this one was the right opportunity. And I believed in what they were trying to do.
Just tell us a bit more about the basic premise of See, though, the series.
Basically, there's a viral apocalypse somewhere between now and maybe 100 or 200 years from now that kills off the majority of population of Earth. We're down to just a few million people left on Earth. And actually, those people emerge blind. And then our show takes place centuries later, maybe 4 or 5 centuries later, where people are living in societies and civilizations of sorts in different environments, living off the land. They're all people who are blind. And then these twins are born, these twins with vision. It kind of changes things a little bit.
Right, because people suddenly found this thing called sight that became a much prized thing. But it's not negative about blindness, is it, as I understand it? I mean, this civilization was doing okay without being able to see, weren't they?
Yeah, I would say, actually, some people call it a dystopia. I would somewhat call it a utopia. You know, the the environment has recovered. You know, these beautiful landscapes, and you see the remnants of what the world was in the past, but the environment has recovered and had time, and these people are living good lives.
And we blind people haven't stomped all over everything, wrecking the world. Is that right?
Exactly. There's definitely some commentary on the environment and the current state of things in our show.
Just briefly, Jay, what's your own background? Because you weren't blind from birth, were you?
No. So I was born with an eye condition called retinitis pigmentosa, and my vision deteriorated from the outside to the inside, and I was legally blind at 19, diagnosed at 11, and lost my vision over time, and I'm totally blind now.
And I think you had that rather gentle introduction to blindness in the doctor's office.
Oh, definitely. I think I was 17 or 18, probably 18, just turned 18 maybe. And the eye doctor's like, yeah, you'll be totally blind by the time you're 25.
Just like that.
And then he left the room.
I think some people will identify that. Doctors say it's very different now. Just to go back to the filming and the teaching, what was the hardest thing to teach sighted film actors about being convincingly blind?
The portrayal of blindness is a sensitive thing. We always start from a place of education and awareness and addressing the misconceptions about blindness. And I train people in the skills that people who are blind use every day. So it's understanding how to trust your senses and use those senses in a different way, like using your hearing to pick up the sound of walls and different things and different objects at times, or picking up the little subtle differences that your other senses that most people don't pay attention to, like your proprioceptive sense or your vestibular sense, like feeling the raise of the ground as you're going towards something, can become kind of a landmark for you to find, whether it's your stoop to your door or whether it's some other building.
Were there things they just didn't get?
Yeah, no one who's not blind is going to ever know what it's like to be blind, and our actors are pretty honest about that. Yeah, there's some people didn't get certain aspects, and we just spent more time on it, and it's a portrayal, so they're not going to have all the skills people who are blind have. So definitely, sometimes people mix up what I would call signaling, like signaling a person, with echolocation. Like there's passive and active echolocation. So you're using echolocation to find shape and space and define objects and other things. And signaling, you're just letting someone know where something is or where you are.
But couldn't the production company actually have saved themselves your fee by hiring all genuinely blind actors?
But you also throwing out the idea that most people who are blind are low vision, right? Like, so low vision is different than totally blind, right? Like even the movements of a person with low vision is different, and the skills that they know. Often people with low vision don't embrace or even utilize a lot of the independent skills that people who are totally blind utilize. So either way, I think I would be there if we hired all people who are totally blind. We're not at a place where we have enough actors who are totally blind or low vision, but there are great opportunities. Marilee Talkington, who's one of our actors, is just started an initiative around training actors who are blind or low vision and making sure it's in an accessible curriculum designed for them.
But what I guess you're saying is quite a lot of blind people aren't that good at being blind.
I'm just saying people who have vision tend to use that vision. So that's all I'm saying.
Well, Joe Strechay is our guest. Stay with us, Joe, because we also want to talk for a moment about a very different kind of inclusion. For many people, the Advent calendar is an integral part of the celebration of Christmas. And even for those people who aren't necessarily practising Christians, the ticking off of the days till Christmas by opening the calendar doors takes them back to their childhood. Well, this year there's to be a Braille Advent calendar. A few, in fact, a very few, in the shops and more online. And one of them is in front of me, and it is a bit of a doorstep, actually. It is a book with Braille pages.
Are you sure it's a book?
Well, hang on, you haven't touched it, have you?
No, I haven't.
Let me pass it across to you.
It sounds like a brick.
There you are, it is a brick.
Is it? Where are you?
If I hit you with it.
Yeah.
Got it?
Don't throw it.
There it is. It is big, isn't it?
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's definitely... This is Lee Comitat, the producer, by the way. I was permitted to enter the studio. When we looked at doing this, I expected it to be like the Braille calendars, the wall Braille calendars that you get. And I was just thinking, how is this going to be done? Because the Braille wall calendars are kind of flimsy, aren't they? There's not that much to them and they're quite thin.
No. Why don't we bring in the expert?
All right.
This is the brainchild of Christina Salcianu, who runs the not-for-profit Trader Advent of Change. So why an Advent calendar?
It's really funny to hear you talk about the size of the calendar, because we did joke when producing them that we might have to deliver them with a forklift truck.
Yeah,
because they did end up having to be quite big just to fit everything in. But the reason that we went with the Advent calendar is that it's our signature product, essentially. Last year it was our only product, and we actually raised £100,000 for charity with the Advent calendar last year. But we sort of had this dawning realisation upon starting this year that actually there's a group of people out there who not only wouldn't be able to use the calendar as it was, but actually would feel really excluded from it, and we hated that. And so that's where we decided to make it accessible.
But I guess the thing is you didn't know much about Braille when you started this, and I gather you had a few surprises.
Oh, we did. I have to be honest, I knew absolutely nothing about Braille when starting the project, and was probably incredibly naive. I sort of thought, well, it's a paper product, it's made on card, surely it would be really easy to just add Braille to it. So funnily enough, the first thing that I did was go and speak to John Lewis and talk to them about the product. They loved it, said, of course, we'll take it. What a great idea. We'd love to help. And so at that point, off I went on my way thinking, easy peasy, we'll just create a Braille version.
I gather you couldn't get anyone to print it, Star.
No, so I actually thought it would already exist and it would just be a case of creating our version. I was really surprised to find that in the UK there was no Braille Advent calendar, and there was certainly not anything that was as text-based as ours. And so essentially it was a case of starting from scratch.
And what did people say to you? What kind of things did they say about what the problems were?
Oh, well, the main thing I got told a lot was that it was completely impossible. And I heard that a lot. So I just started Googling, essentially, how to add Braille. I called pretty much everybody on the first couple of pages of Google. I got through to about 6. I sent samples to about 4, and everybody told me it wasn't possible for a number of reasons. So obviously Braille is much bigger than the text that we have as standard on the calendar. And also, it was really important to us when developing the Advent calendar that it wasn't a lesser product, it wasn't a more than product, it was just an equal product. And for that reason, we really wanted to have the perforations, we wanted to have that surprise element, we wanted something hidden behind the doors. And actually, having Braille behind a perforation has literally never been done before.
Lee and I have been speculating about the Braille behind the perforations, because one of the things that we have wondered is whether reading the back of it, you can't actually, a good Brailleist with sensitive fingers couldn't read it without actually opening it. We wondered. I haven't quite managed to pull this off yet, but I don't see why not.
I'm trying now, but I think the
Will
challenge...
you be cross with us if we succeed in this, Christina?
No, by all means, please do.
It will keep us amused.
It will. It could keep us very quiet. One of the things we should say while Lee is trying to do her version of the Rubik's Cube is that one of the key differences with your calendar is that you don't get little gifts inside it, do you? As you do with normal calendars, you give gifts.
All of our Advent calendars donate to 24 different charities. So every single day, instead of opening a door and finding a little piece of chocolate, not that there's anything wrong with the little piece of chocolate, you actually discover a new charity and you find out how you've helped that charity. So to give you a couple of examples, it could be today you've given a hot meal to a homeless person, or today you've picked up 50 items of plastic from our shores, or today you've given a blanket to a child refugee.
So if it's such a good idea, why so few in the shops?
Well, it's been really difficult for us to produce them, actually. So we've had a number of stumbling blocks, and one of those is cost. So you can imagine being a brand new product, it's been quite costly for us to produce them, and also we just have no idea how many we'll sell. But we thought the best way to do that and the best way to make sure they don't get bashed around too much was to make that readily available online and to put it in sort of the high-profile John Lewis store. And maybe next year that will be different. Maybe next year they'll be in every store, but we'll need for people to go out and buy them, essentially, to make that possible, so we can prove the concept.
I mean, it's £1 a page you give, don't you? It's £1 a day, so you're giving to 24 charities, effectively.
Yes, that's exactly it.
And you have to pay VAT.
I know. It's an absolute pain. So if anybody is listening from HMRC, please feel free to change that legislation.
They listen all the time, the tax people.
There is one advantage, though, that you can send them articles for the blind, can't you?
If it's a Braille product, you can
save
them
on postage and send them articles for the blind.
Christina, thanks very much. Joe Strechay, I hope, is still with us from Pennsylvania. Joe, what present would you like invented for you for Christmas, or, equalising, as it were, with a sighted equivalent?
Is this a philosophical one? Like
we
changing the employment rate of people who are blind or low vision?
You can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
What is it in America? In the States, what's the rate at the moment?
There's debates about it, but it's somewhere around some people say 58% of people who are blind or low vision are unemployed, or it might be even as high as 64% unemployed. And then they go higher when you say underemployed. It goes up over 70%. And there's a hidden population of people who have not been active in the employment process in so long that they're not even counted.
So come on, we'll keep it simple. Give us the numbers you'd like to see employed. What would you think would be a practical aim of getting people employed? You know, could it be the same as the rest of the population?
I would say similar. You know, I think that's a goal, but we're nowhere near that at this point. So if we cut it in half, that would make me feel great.
I'd just like to bring you back to the series C before we have to end. Does a series like this really improve people's understanding of blindness, do you think? Or does it perhaps just reinforce the idea that we're all marvellous superheroes with superpowers? After all, the truth about being blind is a lot of coping with it is rather banal, isn't it? Like your bathroom advice at the beginning of the programme.
I think it changes the script, basically. Most portrayals of blindness are comical and don't show people who are blind doing things that we do every day in life. Typically, they're people who need help, or they're just sitting in the corner. They're a person with a disability, and that's their role. Our show shows them as villains, as warriors, as lovers, as parents, as people doing trades, and that's something you don't see typically.
Isn't it really just a slick vehicle for, you know, an action adventure sci-fi series? And it doesn't mean anything, and producers haven't thought very deeply about blindness at all.
That's an interesting point. It is a piece of entertainment. Like, the goal is to create this product and an idea that was out there that hadn't been done. But right from the beginning, the discussion was, how can we make this inclusive? How can we bring actors who are blind or low vision? I wouldn't have worked on it if they hadn't, truthfully. At this point in time, that's where we're going, and we need to be going. And, you know, we had numerous actors who are blind or low vision. We had 2 stunt performers. We had numerous background who are blind or low vision, and we'll continue to grow in season 2 and have that opportunity.
Pete and I will send you our cards for the next series.
Yeah, we will. We'd love to do it.
Yeah. Well, we still have 4 more episodes launching, and look for more. And I'll tell you, each episode, as we kind of built the plane while we were flying it, each episode includes more and more blindness. So episode 4, and you just saw, and 5 and 6 and 7 are some of my favorites, and include a lot of little pieces that most people won't even realize.
Joe Strechay, that's all we got time for. Thank you so much for joining us today. Also, our thanks to Christina Salciano. And Lee, while you've been ferreting about, found any chocolates in that calendar?
No, that is one great failing of this calendar.
Why no chocolates, Christina?
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, we did toy with the idea of adding a surprise chocolate behind the 24th door this year, actually.
Next year, Christina.
I actually nipped out, Lee, at lunchtime and got you some chocolate.
Oh, thanks, Pete.
You can put it in the advent calendar.
Thank you.
Right,
Pete, hand it over.
That's In Touch from me, Peter Wight, producer with a sweet tooth, Lee Cumitat, our guests and the team. Goodbye.
Scaffolding news for Friday the 15th of November 2019. Cowes area, current scaffolds, Cameos, Bath Road Cows, Beckford House, 10 Beckford Road Cows, 3 Dover Road East Cows. Current cherry picker, Cowes High Street Cows, putting up Christmas lights.
The Newport area is current scaffolds, 4 St James's Street, Newport. Phones for You, 50 High Street, Newport. 146 High Street, Newport. 36 Key Street, Newport. 4849 High Street, Newport. 10 St Thomas's Square, Newport. Holyrood Hall, 70 High Street, Newport. Lugley Street, Newport. EE 122 High Street, Newport. The current cherry picker is adjacent the helipad, Dodner Lane, Newport.
In the Ryde area, the current scaffolds are 171 High Street Ryde, next to Boots, 8 Union Street Ryde, flats 31 to 36 Merrymead Close Ryde, Boots, 170 High Street Ryde, 152 High Street Ryde, 79 Park Road, Scaffold in Player Street Ryde, Hill House, The Mall, Brading, 8 and 9 East Street Ride, 1 and 2 High Street Braiding, 55 Union Street Ride, pending Cherry Picker, adjacent Park Lane Junction, Eddington Road, Seaview, current skips, 54 St John's Wood Road Ride, pending skips, 13 Surrey Street Ride.
The Sandown and Shanklin area, current scaffolds, Sandown Saver Centre, Albert Road, Sandown, current hoardings, Premier Inn 1 to 9 Esplanade, Sandown, current mobile crane, Premier Inn 1 to 9 Esplanade, Sandown, current cherry picker, Langbridge Cottage, The Shoot, Newchurch, current skips, The Sheelings, Ferncliff Road, Sandown, 5 Hill Street, Sandown.
And in the Ventnor area, current scaffolds, corner of Trinity Road and Madeira Road, Ventnor, 1 Boniface Road and into Trinity Road, Ventnor, 1 Blendworth Terrace, St Catherine Street, Ventnor, the Old Town Hall, 1 to 12 Albert Street, Ventnor. Current skips, The Glebe, Spanners Close, Chale.
West Wight area, current scaffolds, Hurst, 9 School Green Road, Freshwater. Current skip, Hurstleigh, the Broadway, Totland. Current hoarding, Elm Cottage, Omani Road, Yarmouth.